But how have you been? How have you been? How was your week? My week was a little chaotic because, as I said, that I started a new job, and it seems like it's a really good job. I really like the people. I like my students. I mean, it's just a fun atmosphere to be in. We say use the word atmosphere. We can use the word atmosphere. Atmosphere. You say it. Atmosphere. Good. It's a good atmosphere. It's a positive atmosphere. That means that they seem to get along together. Get along. Get along means you communicate well, you understand each other, and you have a good relationship. You get along. You don't fight. You get along. Get along. That's our friend, a phrasal verb that will help you. But everyone seems to get along. They seem to enjoy what they do. And that's a very important thing in life. Always enjoy what you do. If you're not enjoying it, try to do something else. Try to do something else. Sometimes in life we get stuck and we feel stuck in a rut. Stuck in a rut. If you're stuck in a rut, that means that you can't move. You feel like you can't move. And you're trying and trying and trying and trying, but you can't get out. And it spins, spins, spins. The tire spins and it goes down deeper. This hole is a rut. So if you're in a rut, it has the idea that you're spinning, you're trying, but you're going nowhere. And a lot of the time we feel like we're in a rut and you can't get out, but you can. I work, it's a little far from my house. It's a little far from my house, and I could take the bus, or I could take my bike, or we could say ride my bike. I like to ride my bicycle as much as possible because it's a nice way to clear my mind after work and before work. So it gives my body something to do, it gives my mind something to do, and I enjoy riding my bicycle there, or we say riding my bike. But there were some problems. This is a new bicycle. It's a new route to go to my job. I'm not used to it, so it takes a lot longer than normal. It's about 9 kilometers, almost 9.5 kilometers from my house to the job. So I go back and forth twice each day. I go in the morning, come back home, and go back in the afternoon and come back home. And so I go there, come back and do a little work online or teach a lesson online. But I come home and maybe have a class on italki or do some work online or organize something. Then in the afternoon I go back and then obviously come back home again. So it's a lot of cycling. It's a lot of cycling, which is good for my health. It's also very tiring. But it took a lot longer than I expected to get to work. So I arrived at work just before one class. And this was my first class with 2 directors of the company. By the way, the new company I'm working with is called Persan. And they're a gigantic cleaning supply company. So they manufacture and distribute all kinds of cleaning supplies. If you clean your house, chances are you're using a Persan product. So I'm teaching their employees, along with a team of English teachers, to improve their English. And so far, it's a great experience. But this was this particular day was my first day with two directors of big departments. A director of a department is like the boss of a certain part of a company. The director of a department. The director of a department. You say it. The director of a department. Okay, so I had arrived just before means means if the class starts at 2, I arrived at 10 to 2. And I was all sweaty. I was sweaty and hot because I had planned to arrive 30 minutes early so to give myself time to cool down and relax. But I arrived late. So it was right before the class. I was sweaty. I went into the bathroom to dry myself off and clean myself up. Dry myself off. Clean myself up. I clean up, dry off, and I'm dry and clean, but my body's still hot. My temperature's still hot. So little beads of sweat, the dots, the beads, the drops of water that come out of your skin when they're drops, they're called beads. Beads of sweat start forming on my head. Since I don't have hair, I don't have anything to absorb it or catch the sweat. So it beads up on my head and starts rolling down my face. And the class is about to start. And I'm waiting for the director to come get me to show me where her office is. And I go back in the bathroom and dry off again. Okay, and I drink water and I splash cold water on my face and head to try to cool myself down. I go back outside and I'm dry and clean. I meet her and go into her office. She's a nice lady. Actually, there were two. The one director was late yet, but I went into her office and I felt my head start to bead up with sweat. This is our first class together, so you always want to make a good first impression, don't you? Question tag. You always want to make a good first impression, don't you? Don't you? I'm sitting there and we're starting to have a conversation. I want to gauge how her English level is and to build a rapport with her. We're going to be studying all year, so you want to build a good rapport with people who you're working with, don't you? Don't you? You're going to start catching question tags all the time now. But we're talking and I feel sweat rolling down my face. Oh, geez. And rolling down the other side of my face. And rolling down my head. Rolling down the back of my neck. Rolling down the back of my neck. And I try when she's not looking, when she writes something down or when she looks to the side, I try to rub my head dry and make it dry to try to hide my sweat. There was no hiding. So while we were chatting and talking, while she had a text message, because she's a very busy lady. She's in charge of a whole group at this big company. But I take this opportunity, I try to dry myself off and I can't. And when she puts the phone down, I have to excuse myself. I have to excuse myself and I said, I'm sorry, listen, can I go to the bathroom to clean up? And explain the situation to her. And it was a really embarrassing situation for me, but fortunately the other student hadn't arrived yet, so we were still kind of waiting anyway. But I dismissed myself, I excused myself to the bathroom, cleaned up, dried off, took a breather. I took a breather, which means I relaxed, take 5, take a breather, cool down, and went back in. No more sweat, no more issues. We had a beautiful lesson. They're two lovely ladies, and I look forward to teaching them every week. But that was an embarrassing first impression. I'll tell you what, that was kind of embarrassing. How about you? Do you have any embarrassing first impression stories? You always want to make a good first impression, especially to someone who's paying you. Well, she's not paying me directly, but I'm working for her. I'm teaching her. You always want to make a good first impression, but sometimes we don't. And that can be an awkward time, but it can also make for great stories. So let me know your stories. Awkward or bad first impressions. Let me know.